now that you understand what depression really is and that you have control over it, I'm going to outline for you the most common triggers and the 3 lines of defense in your battle. They are controlling your lifestyle, using your state boosters, and the last line of defense is knowing how to fight your way out of a depressive state. So these all come from personal experience in my own fight against depression, and I promise you that everything I outline works. And I can tell you guys that it does get better. At 33, with the steps that I've taken, depression for me is like a long lost memory. I don't get into a depressive state more than maybe once or twice a quarter, and it does not last more than, usually half a day. Maybe at most I'll have a day where I'm feeling really low, but maybe once out of 150 days. And that is a massive improvement from 10 years ago. At 21, I would be, or 12 years ago, I would be in depressive states as many as 4-5 days out of a week. Okay. In high school, in grade 9 and 10, it was even worse. It was almost every day of the week was a constant depression. And I can tell you guys from personal experience, you implement the stuff that I outlined for you, you are going to be amazed and thrilled with how much you can change your life and how better your life can be. So let's get started with your triggers. So I'm going to outline the 3 most common triggers. Number 1 is illness or physical pain. And this is the hardest one to deal with, okay? Because illness or physical pain changes your physiological state. And it's a change that physiological state is sometimes something that is very hard to control. If you have cancer or something like that, your physiological state is going to be horrible. And a lot of that's going to be out of your control, because being sick sends hundreds of negative anchors and triggers throughout your body into your mind. And it also reduces key neurotransmitters like dopamine, serotonin, and GABA, which makes it that much easier to slip into depression. So it's extremely important that you take as good care of your health as possible. One thing that I did was I stopped drinking milk, and I moved to a country where there were no seasons. Where Thailand, it's hot all year round. Back in Toronto, I would usually get sick every time the seasons changed. And when I stopped drinking milk, which was what I was allergic to, I stopped getting congested and I stopped getting colds all the time. So now I maybe get 1 cold a year, and having a cold, knocks my mood down by probably about 35%, or maybe about 30%. And there's a massive difference between how I feel when I'm feeling great and the first days of a cold. So that's an area where you want to make sure to eat as healthy as possible and to avoid, sickness like the plague. If your girlfriend is sick, then don't be around her, because you need to treat this like it's your job, okay? Because this is how serious depression is, and you need to go above and beyond what the average person does. The average person can get sick and it's not a huge deal, but you need to recognize that this is a danger zone for you, and you need to really be on guard against getting sick. Second trigger, doing what you hate. This could mean working a job that you hate when you see no way out, family obligations, trying to please people, or any restriction on your freedom and pursuit of happiness. The best decision I've made in the last 10 years or so was committing myself 100% to building my own business where I don't have to work a job. I worked in sales for many years, and I hated that job with the plague. My mood increased at least 30% by not having to go and do sales, maybe 40%. That's how much I hated an office job, okay? If you it's going to be very difficult for you guys if you work a job to not do what you hate, because 9 times out of 10 most people don't like their job, and there's so much that you're not in control of. You're not in control of the people you work with. You're not in control of how your boss talks to you. You're not in control of your resources. So there is going to be, in general, that's probably going to be the most likely area where you're doing something that you hate. And as you guys know, I recommend your main mission in life being, building something great that's going to sustain you financially. I built Revolutionary Lifestyle Design, and I love it. And I love every single day of working on my business, and of reaching out to you guys and talking to you guys, and being able to do what I love. And that's a massive difference, okay? And cutting out negative people and negative family members, massive difference. So that is trigger number 2, okay? And trigger number 3 is nihilism. And if you are an intellectual or an intelligent guy, this is a real dangerous one, and it was for me. I was reading Nietzsche at 13, and I can tell you that was not a good path to go on. Thinking things like life is pointless and it doesn't matter that we all die, we all die in the end, is like some of the nastiest ways of thinking. And it is very easy to start thinking like that when you analyze the world from a purely rational perspective. But at the end of the day, you also have to deal with the fact that there is no objective meaning in life, okay? At first thought, that can seem very negative, but when you break it down and when you actually understand what Nietzsche was saying, which I didn't understand as a young kid, it gives you an amazing sense of freedom. Although there might be no objective meaning, you create whatever meaning you want, okay? You can create any kind of life you want, and you can attach as much or as little meaning to that as possible. And you can get as much involved in that meaning as you want. And that is an amazing thing, okay? In many ways, you can look at life as a game. And if there's no objective meaning, it doesn't matter. Is there, when you were a kid and you were playing video games, was there an objective meaning to that? No, but you had a ton of fun, and you had a mission for beating the boss, and you could play it with your buddies, and it was a great time. So life is what you make of it, okay? Instead of making your life a hell, you can make your life a heaven. You can have women in your life. You can have a business that you love. You can live in a nice country where it's warm all the time. And I'm telling you guys, the only time people drift into nihilism is when they're unhappy. Okay, if you lived in the Playboy Mansion and you had access to Playboy Playmates and you had an unlimited bank account, you wouldn't be worried about nihilism, because you would just be like, man, I don't care. I'm going to enjoy my life, So that is the cure for nihilism, is you need to find meaning in your life. You need to be on a mission, and you need to have happiness as your main priority. And when you do those things, nihilism is going to have no effect on you.